Hello, everyone. This is Lee Andrews from akathame. Thank you so much for joining me on another Live with Lee. And for those of you who are watching post-live broadcast, thank you for tuning in afterwards. Appreciate everybody's comments and input along the way. I will be checking comments throughout this live broadcast. For those of you who are new, akathame is an international talent acquisition and management consulting firm. And if the organization is if your organization is interested in finding a better way of creating a waiting list of candidates for you instead of constantly hunting them, that is what we do. And so today I have with me Mr. Chandler McCann, and Chandler is the general manager at DataRobot, and he oversees the data science capability within his organization, specifically within the public division of DataRobot. Before we engage Chandler, I wanted to mention to you that this is one of those unique startups that even that their valuation was recently calculated, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chandler, $2.7 billion.
That's correct. Yep.
That's insane. So we're going to talk about why this is happening. And again, for those of you who just joined, thank you for joining, and we're going to dig right in. As you know, that these 30-minute segments go pretty darn fast. So let's first talk about Chandler is here because he is hiring. He is hiring for data scientists. There are over 17,000 current open positions for data scientists. And that funnel gets very, very small when it comes to candidates in the cleared domain and even in the non-cleared domain. So we're going to talk about why a data scientist might consider DataRobot and why a data scientist might not. So Chandler, talk to us about what does DataRobot do and why are they valued already at $2.7 billion?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, and thanks for having me, Lee. It's a pleasure to be here. When we think about what DataRobot does, it's a broad question, but at our core, we're the world's most advanced enterprise AI platform. And when we started back in 2012 and released our first product in 2015, that was really focused on AutoML itself, so automated machine learning, being able to up-level data scientists or democratize data scientists for democratize data science for folks that may not have the coding skills. But as we've grown over the years and as we've marched on towards this larger valuation, we've brought a really high level of automation and control across the entire machine learning lifecycle, all the way from data preparation through model deployment. So as a data scientist here, we work with organizations in the public and the private sector to help them realize either their mission or business value. And so we get to work on some of the toughest problems in both the commercial and the public sector space, ranging from working within the intelligence community and working within defense to working with top 5 global banks and private equity firms to hospital systems. So it's as a data scientist, if you want to get a lot of opportunities to work on different problems and work on important problems, we've got that in spades.
So it's interesting. Let's talk about that. And so one of the reasons that I and you and I both know that everybody makes choices as to who they work with, who they represent. One of the reasons that attracted me to DataRobot is that you are actually doing things that make a difference in the world. And to me, that's important. So for a data scientist, I mean, that's your background. So what is it that you are doing in this world that actually would make somebody feel good about what they do?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to answer that, and since we've got time, I want to touch on a couple. So I think as a company, DataRobot's had a vision that that data science and machine learning and AI can have a broad impact, but historically it's been really limited to these very technical practitioners, sort of like cigar rollers, right? People that make one thing very slowly, very, very delicately over time. But the world can't evolve that way. And DataRobot's really helped bring AI to the masses in a way that is both highly trustable, highly reliable, highly accurate. And so from a product perspective, I think we are legitimately part of the fourth industrial revolution, where we're helping bring forward intelligence to the business community, to people that don't have a degree in computer science, but know their domain very well. So that's special. I mean, I think that in itself is transformative as we evolve, as a species and as a country, particularly here in the U.S. So that technical capability is game changing, and it's fun to be part of. Yeah.
So wait a minute, that actually intrigues me. So you're saying, like, who are your users of your product then? They're not necessarily other data scientists, or are they people like me who might be product managers or developers?
Mm-hmm. It's both. So I think when, as a data scientist using DataRobot, it gives you superpowers. You can scale yourself and do things that are not humanly possible. We can solve problems that other people can't do. You can get through that backlog. You can rapidly get to a better answer more quickly than you could have by hand or with any other tool. And I'm confident in saying that. For a business analyst or for someone like a product manager who knows their space and knows their domain well, you can leverage AI and machine learning to solve problems you couldn't have been able to solve before. And that's really, it's this mix of providing guardrails for users that don't have the technical expertise but know their domain very well, and also providing the power and flexibility for those data scientists and specialists that do have that knowledge. And so we cover a wide range of user personas, and it gives them both really special abilities to have a huge business impact. And that's really what we're talking about doing, is having an impact to your mission or to your business, because as a data scientist, that's what you want to do. You don't want to build a model that sits on the shelf, and we provide the fastest path to deployment that you can get to. So.
Okay, that's a mouthful right there. When you say the fastest deployment, let's get to that in a minute, but let's talk about you and I talked about some significant outcomes that your organization has achieved for its clients. Can you speak to any of those that are public and ready?
Yeah, I mean, so I think, one personally fulfilling place to start with is our AI for Good program. So in addition to helping companies and governments solve some of their hardest problems, we've made our platform available for free to all nonprofits out there, and you can log into datarobot.com to learn more about that and find out if you are a registered 501(c)(3). But we also work hand in hand with certain nonprofits, and we're getting ready to launch again here in the spring for our second year of AI for Good program, and that's allowed us to work side by side with companies that may not be able to normally hire data scientists or even have a lot of technical analysts. So when I go back to this idea of bringing your mission and combining that with AI, some places we've been able to help are improving access to water in Sierra Leone and across Africa. So working with government leaders to use AI to understand when water points, so hand pumps, are going to break in the future, so they can make important budgeting decisions. They can make important predictive maintenance decisions. That's something that we've been working on for the last few years and are scaling. All the way to working to improve the water quality of the Anacostia River in DC and predict that so it's safe for people to swim in, up to working to improve the outcomes of spinal cord injury surgery patients. So working with the University of California, San Francisco, Zuckerberg Medical Center to revolutionize how we take all the data sources that are coming in the surgery and using AI to get to insights that would normally take 3 years, doing that in 6 months.
That's different. So where are you getting this data from to analyze the surgical processes and components?
Yeah.
And where is that coming from?
From the hospital itself. So a lot of data is collected during an actual surgery. And so the challenge the researchers have are, what do I do with all these data streams, right? These are complex injuries, and they're complex procedures. So what data is useful, and what do I learn about that, and how do I learn about that? So by being able to rapidly iterate, evaluate different scenarios, different variables, different inputs, we've helped them arrive at research conclusions that, again, would normally take a few years, when we've been able to get there in about 6 months.
So for somebody like me, who's a layperson, who does not do what you do for a living, every time the doctor or a medical practitioner enters data into the medical system about me as a patient or my procedure, that's the data that a data scientist and your tool would be better able to analyze. And then you've got data scientists to say, okay, this is how we're going to make this tool help analyze that better, faster.
That's a broader question. I wouldn't say, well, I'm definitely saying we don't have access to everyone's data. I'm not saying that. But for this specific hospital that is specifically focused on spinal cord research, they've got patients that are participating in the study to make that data available to try to improve outcomes. And so
Wow.
they wanted our help to analyze that data more quickly, and not just more quickly, but just in new ways. And
Got it.
so I think, broadly speaking, there's a huge opportunity to apply AI in healthcare at large, and we've
Yeah.
done that with certain hospitals when it comes to predicting sepsis, to on the operational side, forecasting staffing levels to improve, hospital bed occupancy and staffing levels for nurses and doctors. So there's loads of ways we can have impact, and we are, and that's again one of the fun parts about working in DataRobot is you can have the chance to have an impact in not just one vertical, but in many, and we're not just selling ads over here. So.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So what is it about the DataRobot capability that differentiates, if not discriminates you from other capabilities that a data scientist would want to have in their portfolio?
Yeah, so I think what differentiates DataRobot from other tools that the data scientists would have in their portfolio, our mission as a data scientist in a business capacity is to drive value. And again, whether that's with a mission for the government or with an outcome for a company, and you want to do that quickly and you want to do it appropriately. And DataRobot provides a suite of tools to get to fail fast and fail well and improve your models more quickly. So I can't go back to doing data science the old way after having worked at DataRobot for nearly 4 years now.
Okay,
so it's
that's important to know. And that's a key reason is that the tool itself is constantly being improved, or what is
constantly being improved? Yeah. So constantly being improved. I mean, I think a huge differentiator right now, and there are many, but it's again all along the life cycle. So how do I with our most recent release of automated feature engineering, how do I quickly build a modeling data set across 50, 70, 100 tables, right? That's something that would take days, weeks for a data scientist, and that's something that we could automate in a safe way. So that's a superpower that most data scientists don't get to have, right? So being able to explore data sets in new ways I had never had before, being able to explore different data types. So DataRobot works natively with image data, with text data, with geospatial data, with, of course, numeric and categorical data, combining all those in a multimodal way. That is something that is very tricky for data scientists to do efficiently, certainly. And it's certainly even harder to do those across a variety of different algorithm families, pre-processing steps. So I can solve new problems with more data. And then I can manage hundreds or thousands of deployments in an efficient way. And on top of that, I can even deploy apps quickly to my customers, to my stakeholders that are easy to consume. So I can go from, I have an idea, and this is a part that I love about my job, is that I get to work with people that have a very vague business challenge or a vague mission challenge. We help understand what that is, and we can go from that discussion to a prototype of functioning model in days, weeks, not months, right? And so the ability to learn quickly, deliver value quickly, I haven't had that experience before in my career to this extent. So DataRobot provides those powers, again, along every step of the way. And our job as a data scientist here isn't just to press start and use the automation. It's to use it in creative ways. So as you know, particularly for data scientists, one of the common misconceptions is that it's just a GUI. I just drag and drop data sets in, and where do I go as a data scientist? How do I keep learning? And I think that's a little bit short-sighted. As a data scientist, everything this big suite of tools I described, it's all controllable by our Python or our API. You can use this automation in ways that just you can't imagine. And so that's the challenge for our team, is to use DataRobot in new and creative ways to build solutions that help solve hard problems. And that's what is fun for me. And there's a lot of things that are fun. That's one of the most fun parts for me.
I would be in a fetal position curled up in the corner if somebody else would do that. We do have a question over here. How might DataRobot help product design through technology that enhances personalization of experiences, voice recognition, and chatbots, analyzing vast amounts of A/B or multivariate testing, etc.?
All right, there's a lot in that question there, so maybe I'll try to tackle that a few pieces at a time. So how might DataRobot help product design through technology that enhances personalization of experiences, voice recognition, and chatbots, vast amounts of A/B or multivariate testing? So DataRobot can certainly help product design through rapid iteration, right? So one of the challenges with product design is, particularly for the machine learning side, is the delays to get to that minimum viable model and iterate on that with your customers. So I'm currently developing a solution right now that I can't go into too many details on. But what we have been able to do is not just iterate on the product from a UI UX perspective with the user and from a requirements perspective, but also from a modeling perspective, right? We've been able to iterate on that extremely quickly over the span of 6 to 8 weeks as opposed to 3 to 4 months. And so this idea of being able to totally get away from this waterfall design approach when it comes to integrating machine learning and product, it's an accelerator, in short. I think that's probably the best way to put it. When it comes to voice recognition and chatbots, again, it goes back to less around those solutions per se, but more around what data you have available. And if you've got data from a variety of sources, it can be used in creative ways to help build new tools. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Let's talk about, I want to talk about your team, and I want to switch gears here. I want to talk about working with you, working at DataRobot, and working with the people, the other data scientists. Let's start with you first. You're currently managing, like most people, a remote team. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. What would you say if you were to pull somebody from your team? What do you think they would say about your management style on a remote?
Yeah, so I think management style on a remote team is it's certainly, well, we've always been remote, I think, for starters. So DataRobot has natively been remote for a huge portion of the company. But about my management style, I think I would like to think that they say a few things. One, that we have a lot of autonomy for our team members. So we set clear expectations and give people the tools and resources they need to be successful. Two, we have a culture of feedback where people are allowed to encourage to fail and dent the car, but don't crash it. And as we learn, and so they'll say that we provide that culture of feedback to them, as well as opportunities to solve hard problems. So we, in a remote sense, that even though we're distributed, we're still supportive, and it's not like you're on an island. We have a very, very active Slack community that's sort of the the glue that keeps us together remotely. So when COVID hit, it was actually a pretty seamless transition for us to be able to navigate full remote as opposed to, say, largely remote. Does that answer your question, Lee?
Yes, it does. So what about, let's talk about how ideas come to you. So how do ideas come to you? And one of the things that I always coach talent that I represent when they are interviewing to interview the hiring manager, what their level of influence is very important for that data scientist, because that means funding, it means visibility, it means opportunity. So talk to me about something that you're quite proud of that started from your team and elevated to something significant.
Yeah, I could think of a couple. I'd like to give one example from the public sector team first, and then just one example personally that kind of predates that. So for folks that are interested in working on our team, we're broken down into three big focus areas right now. We're broken down into the defense sector, into healthcare, so trying to improve the nation's healthcare with AI, and also the intelligence community. So how do ideas come up to me? I would say the ideas come up from our data scientists and our AI success team being super engaged with their stakeholders and understanding how AI could transform their business, right? And so, I'm really proud of team members that have worked with them to solve with a particular defense agency about an $800 million problem over the last few months. And that was something that we've worked with them to support, build out, and design, and resource appropriately. So ideas come from the field. Ideas also come from just things we see across the industry, so opportunities to recognize. Some of those opportunities are around things like education and trust. So we know that bias and fairness is a big part of and that's just one important, but just one part of the trust conversation. So our team gets the ability to work with our product team and think about new ways to apply data science and incorporate that into product. So as a data scientist at DataRobot, you have an influence and the direction of the product. You take the feedback from the field and you can help influence that into product decisions going forward. So this is a really broad question. So I think you can think about it from a technical perspective. How do I get support for a solution? If you find an mission worth solving, we're going to resource it and support you. From a product perspective, if you have a way to enhance our product, there's a very explicit feedback loop from our front-end data science team to our product team to help make sure we're continuously evolving. And then finally, at an organizational level, there's lots of ways to get involved. So again, for mine, going back to the AI for Good program, that all started from a pro bono customer that I asked to take on. And then based on the success and just the impact and just how rewarding it was, we decided to, through the leadership of our CEO, Jeremy Achin, and his support, we're able to take that and turn that into a full-fledged global program where we had over 20 applicants from 10 countries in our first inaugural year, which was phenomenal for us. So I had an idea, it got supported, and we turned it into a real thing, and that thing is sustaining and growing, and that's what it's like working here. If you have all ideas are welcome. It's not some rigid stay in your lane kind of place. We're a culture of builders, we're a culture of doers, we're a culture of tinkerers, and it's close to an idea meritocracy as we can get on our side. So
that's very cool. And for those of you just joining, this is live, so you're hearing every neighborhood dog barking at this time. I also heard from Sonal. Sonal told me that we're having some technical difficulties on LinkedIn. So if you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook, thank you for making that switch. I appreciate it. So let's, believe it or not, we've only got about 8 minutes left. So I want to talk about, there's a difference between a data scientist who isn't client-facing and a data scientist who is client-facing. So to me, the latter allows for an even broader and, more valuable portfolio. Mm-hmm. Is that the case?
I'm sorry, it kind of broke up there. So data scientists who, yeah.
Their portfolio. Hold on, let me take a drink.
No problem.
Love live. Their portfolio, does it have a higher value?
Data scientists that aren't client facing?
That are client facing.
Yeah, I think it's different. So I think they solve different problems. So when we are, our client facing data scientists are super engaged with our, and hello, Emmett, welcome to the conversation. Our client-facing team are very close to the mission, right? They're there working with senior leaders, SCSs, generals, mission leaders to solve their problem with AI. And part of that is being part of that AI transformation. So you're helping organizations, in particular the government, who is they're early on in their journey of becoming AI driven, to say the least. The client-facing data scientists are solving things that are mission specific. Our back-end data scientists, which are also very much open right now at DataRobot, they're solving for product solutions that are broadly applicable, right? So not how do I apply a certain NLP technique to solve this particular use case, but more broadly, how do I build in this NLP capability into our platform that can solve a lot of use cases? So it's a different flavor of impact. I wouldn't say one's more right than the other. It just goes down to what gives you joy, right? So do you get energy out of working with customers, solving hard problems that are emergent, that might evolve over time, or do you want to, kind of build for the broader community? I think those are two different questions, and they're two different personas. So
interesting. Yeah, I would think so. Just like anything that's client facing versus not client facing. It is
Mm-hmm.
two very different personas. So let's talk about knockouts for your team. So right
Mm-hmm.
now we are hiring, and we want to make that very clear that this is a call to action, that you do need people to help support these big initiatives and support your clients. What are some of the characteristics that will not make it in your organization? I mean, if this is who you are, don't even think about applying.
Yeah. If you're a data scientist that needs to be told what to do and is not self-directed and energetic and doesn't have that kind of startup energy and mentality, this isn't the right place. So we want people that want to get in the fire, solve hard problems, and have the technical capabilities to solve a wide array of those problems. So that is, I think, from a culture perspective, that's important. That said, we provide a ton of support and for our teams, a ton of training, a ton of guidance, but people that wait around for the next thing to happen to them as opposed to being proactive, that's usually a cultural mismatch. I would also say folks that aren't continuous learners, right? So DataRobot is constantly evolving. We're staying at the cutting edge. We're trying to automate that, and it's a very subtle thing to automate the art of data science. So you need to be learning all the time. And since I've joined DataRobot, I've seen us bring in image analysis, time series analysis, anomaly detection, geospatial analysis, a number of disciplines within the field, and it just keeps growing. So you have to be a continuous learner. And I think finally, lone wolves tend to not fly on the data science side. We're a team here. We want to win as a team. We solve problems as a team, and we support each other as a team. So folks that are willing to, go in this like arm in arm with their peers as we go towards client engagements and building our business, or building a special game-changing business that's going to transform how the U.S. Does business with AI. People need to want to be part of that, and not sit in the sidelines.
And so what about the structure of your organization? Is there room for advancement, or is it kind of a flat organization? What does that look like?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's no wrong seat on a rocket ship, as they say, but we're a matrixed organization right now. So we work in small teams for the data science group, and there's opportunities to grow both on a technical path as well as on a leadership path. So there's opportunities for both. And there's also opportunities for mobility into other areas like product or engineering, if that's something that is deemed a better fit down the road.
And so let's talk about the potential elephant that might be in the room. There are some questionable reviews, not so favorable reviews. And I noticed it on Glassdoor, and data scientists have brought this to my attention. And I think that we can put that to bed. I think that, would you say that hiring practices may have changed over time to, squelch those concerns about because there are long hours. When you're in a startup, you are going to expect to work long hours. It's just what we do.
Yeah. So I am not familiar with every single review. Obviously, our hiring processes have evolved as we've grown as a company, but it's not for the faint of heart. If you want to come in and just punch the clock 9 to 5 and then go home and wait for something to happen, like, this is not the right company for you. We're building a global, leading company in AI, and we intend to be the best. And people need to want to be part of that mission. That said, the hours come with rewarding work. So if you put someone, Edison didn't work short hours either, right? So I mean, when you have an important problem to solve, time kind of flies, and we are making sure that we're not sitting here filing TPS reports to throw back to Office Space, but we're solving hard things, and we want to do those quickly and deliver value for our customers. So hard work is also rewarded, and it's something we take seriously, and it's also, we get ample time off. So we still have an unlimited vacation policy, which I've never denied a day of vacation for any of my team members ever since I've been here. It's up to you to own your time. And again, this goes back to being self-directed. It goes back to being self-motivated, and working on the right problems. But people, you have to be enough of an adult to create your own balance, and that's something that we encourage.
Excellent. And Emmett asked another question. By the way, this is retired Lieutenant Colonel Emmett. He is currently supporting the DIA and its attempts to manage their talent pool. Right now, they have a lot of data, but very few reports to help them understand what they have, what can be done here. I think he's asking, can DataRobot help with something like that?
Managing their talent pool. Yeah, so I think when it comes to like the broader field of workforce analytics, there's a lot that can be done. It just really depends on what kind of data they're collecting. But you can think about the employee journey from hiring through retention, through promotion, through development, through performance management. Every step along the way, there's opportunities to use that data to help improve the employee experience. I think it's just a matter of, if I were in that situation, I would want to set up focus time with key leaders to understand sort of what are the pain points they're experiencing right now, and then figure out which ones we could actually go after. Is the data available? Is the culture ready for it? These are some of the probing questions you want to ask and kind of figure out. But yeah, there's certainly something you can do.
Sounds like I need to connect you two. All right. So our 30 minutes is up. That went fast, right?
It did.
Is there anything that you want to say to a candidate who is a data scientist, you might be considering a career change or a job change, that words of wisdom or thoughts?
Yeah, I think for data scientists that are interested in a career change, we provide a couple of things that are valuable. One is the opportunity to solve hard problems that are meaningful. We've been extremely lucky to be involved with the government's response to COVID, as well as to just other national missions in terms of security, all the way through healthcare and across the commercial sector. So you won't be bored here, and there's a chance to solve real problems as opposed to the next flavor of recommendation system. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you want to change a pace, we offer that here. And two, I would say that there's, for the data scientists thinking that automation would take away, I think it's just, I'd ask you to go find your point and click camera. It's the automation is something that we need to embrace, and it's something that empowers data scientists. And the things that we've been able to do, such as building a forecasting model for over 1 million SKUs that is maintained and retrained overnight. That's hard to do by hand, and it's something that's a little bit more tractable to do with automation. So just being able to take on problems that just you wouldn't have even considered, that's just part of the day-to-day. And so it's a fun environment. We got some of the smartest people in the data science community working here, and we're looking for more rock stars on our team. And so, please reach out.
And to be clear, because you're attracting more customers, the requirements have increased. And that is your primary need to add in growth. These are all growth positions, correct?
We're growing faster than we can keep up.
Yeah. So you're doing something right. Emmett says that's all the questions from him. I don't have any other questions from anybody else, but I will connect you to behind the scenes. And Chandler, thank you so much. Again, thanks to everybody who stayed tuned. I'm so sorry. I will post this live broadcast on LinkedIn. Chandler, if you can hang on as I close out this Live with Lee broadcast. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.